So pissed off. Good evening. We were in executive session, so we're going to come out of that, and then we can get into the public meeting. Mrs. Trompe, can I have a motion to reconvene the public meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're now back in public meeting. We're going to be on Section 4, routine business. We have the Board Secretary's report for June of 2026, the receipts and appropriation adjustments for June of 26, the Treasurer's report for June of 26, the monthly transfer report for June of 26, no high school activities report, the food service management cost performance statement for July, certified bill list for as of August 25th, and the approval of minutes, the regular meeting on July 21st, and the executive session also on July 21st. Mrs. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 4, routine business items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Tadley?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 5, routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of August 20th, the fire alarm report for July of 26, the crisis drill report for July, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you to members of the public who have joined us here this evening, and thank you to our members who are watching at home. This is an exciting time of year. We are at the doorstep of the start of the 26-27 school year, and we are really excited to welcome back over 3,100 students for the school year here in Cinnaminson. I start with some words of congratulations. Wanted to give a shout out to CHS senior Ronan Segrest, who was recently featured in an article on CNBC talking about a phone-free workplace, and I think his comments were really insightful for a senior student who's about to go into the school year in a phone-free school year. So congratulations to Ronan. It was really cool to just wake up to see that. This is the week where we begin to welcome everyone back. Actually, I should say last week we got our first taste of it as Mrs. Jones and her team welcomed back families for 2 sessions of very successful kindergarten orientation. It's always a great event. Our drivers turn out and we drive students to school for the first time, and they get to take part in the New Albany kindergarten orientation program, which is always very successful. Also yesterday, we had our transportation welcome back. We welcome back that group of folks, and last night we had our pre-K orientation. For this year, we are in 7 different sites for pre-K, so I'm really proud of the progress that we've made in trying to open up classroom space to our 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in town, and we continue the process of trying to find a spot for every single eligible family and ultimately eliminate the wait list. On Thursday, we look forward to our 3rd grade and 6th grade early orientations. Right before this meeting, I came from the 9th grade orientation along with a couple of my colleagues on the board. That was very successful as well. And speaking to the students who are also a part of that orientation, they are perhaps slightly less excited about the start of the school year than I am, but excited nonetheless. And we're very much looking forward to welcoming back our staff on next Monday at CHS. A couple of thank yous to the folks who helped make the school district run. They're very busy over the summer. Of course, thank you to our teachers, ESP secretaries, admins, all 12-month staff who are here throughout the summer doing things like ESY, Kickstart, Rush Camp, et cetera. We keep the schools going 12 months out of the year. So thank you to our buildings and grounds staff. The schools look fantastic. The floors are shining. Our summer projects are complete. Preventative maintenance is up to snuff, and it wouldn't be possible without the dedicated members of our buildings and grounds staff. Also, of course, like to thank and recognize our transportation staff who are ready to roll our 65-plus buses for the next school year, and of course, we welcomed them back recently. And finally, Mr. Creel and his technology staff, thank you for all the work that you do over the summer. That truly is their busiest time of year to make sure that our students are ready to roll when September hits. Fall sports are back in action at the high school. If you've driven by the high school, you've seen them out there practicing, scrimmaging, and getting ready to kick off some of our seasons in the next 2 weeks. The series of back-to-school nights coming up. Of course, we always invite members who are families of those respective schools. Cinnaminson Middle School on September 8th, Rush School on September 9th, our preschool program on September 10th, New Albany School on September 10th as well, and CHS on September 14th. Finally, I want to wish the very best of luck to all of our 3,100 students who are about to start school for the following school year. And I would invite all members who are in the audience tonight who may have some questions regarding our upcoming school improvement election and referendum to hang out after the meeting for an open question and answer forum, where myself and select members of our referendum committee, our architect and construction managers will be here to be able to answer any questions that you may have related to the projects. And of course, we welcome any and all questions. We'll make sure that we turnkey those questions to the rest of the public who may be sharing some of your thoughts or some of your concerns related to the projects, and make sure that we make those answers available to ultimately inform all of the 16,000-ish members of the Cinnaminson community so they have the information that they need to make an informed decision on September 15th. And with that, best of luck to all of the students who are going to start school on September 2nd. So thank you, Ms. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capillo. Mr. Meeker, can I have a motion to approve Section 5, routine matters, items A through E?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Iacone. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. McGough?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. We have one of our student representatives here, our high school representative, Michaela Schieker.
That way.
She's down there.
Down that way.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michaela Schieker, and I'm the Board of Education Liaison for the 2026-2027 school year. I'm very excited to start this new position, and I look forward to everything I get to accomplish this year on the Student Council. Fall sports teams have started practice for their 2026 seasons. The 2026 football team is ready to go and looks forward to their scrimmage at Lower Cape May Regional High School this Thursday, August 27th at 6 p.m. We will be continuing the online ticketing system this year. Follow Cinnaminson Athletics on social media to scan the QR code to purchase tickets online. The CHS cheerleading team attended a 2-night UCA cheerleading camp at Monmouth University. The girls work from sunrise to sunset, learning new stunts, routines, and working together as a team. Junior Gemma Wolf was named an All-American cheerleader. Gemma and Charisma Streichel made it into the finals of the jump competition, and Charisma and Kathy Vo received the Pin It Forward Award, highlighting their positivity, collaboration, and kindness to others at camp. The girls are looking forward to taking what they learned at camp to our football and basketball seasons this year. Yesterday, the varsity soccer team had a scrimmage at Cherry Hill West and scored a 9-0 victory. The team had a strong start to their preseason and have found strong leadership from senior captains Jason Bassetti, Dylan Platnecki, Todd Selman, and Jaden Shim. Coach Digny has been pleased with the progress of the program. The women's soccer team had a scrimmage versus Rancocas Valley yesterday and scored a 5-0 victory. They will have another scrimmage at Williamstown on August 27th at 4 p.m. Coach Bond is looking forward to another strong season and is led by a tremendous group of upperclassmen. The field hockey team started their season yesterday with a hard-fought scrimmage at Cherry Hill West. Their next scrimmage will be tomorrow at Cherry Hill East at 9 a.m. Coach Gavir is pleased with the team's efforts and commitment this preseason and is looking forward to what's to come. The women's tennis team also had a scrimmage victory yesterday at Cherry Hill West and will have another match this Friday versus Morristown at 9 a.m. at Wood Park. Coach Alvarado is once again looking forward to a great season with Cinnaminson girls tennis and is happy with the team's leadership. Men's cross-country team put in a lot of hard work and miles over the summer and are poised for a successful season. They seek to defend their sectional title and divisional title from 2025. They will kick their season off on Friday, September 4th at the Cherokee Challenge. The women's volleyball team had a hard scrimmage at home yesterday versus Montgomery High School. Their next match will be on Thursday at 3 p.m. at Cherry Hill West. Coach Casey is very pleased with the leadership of captains Julia Harvey, Izzy Guthrie, and Michaela Schieker, and is looking forward to another great fall on the hardwood. Freshman New Student Orientation. This afternoon, August 25th, the members of the class of 2030 attended the annual Freshman Orientation. The CHS pep band and the cheerleaders greeted the students as they arrived, and CHS student government officers provided fun informational activities, and the students received their Class of 2030 t-shirt, designed and produced by CHS graduate Jack Shallow. The group of eager pirates concluded the event by gathering for a barbecue before joining their parents and guardians for the final presentation by administration and members of the CHS staff. We're excited to welcome our newest CHS students. At the conclusion of the presentation, the National Honor Society was available, helping our newest pirates acclimate to the building following their 2026-2027 schedules.
Thank you, Michaela. We will have our middle school student representative next month. Moving on to Section 7, presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight is the first of 3 presentations we'll be having with regard to student achievement data from the previous school year. Tonight, we're going to hear from Mrs. Suzanne Fisher, who's our Director of Instruction for World Language, Visual and Performing Arts, ESL, and Family and Consumer Science. She's going to be talking about the Access Test, which is a mandated assessment for all the students who are in our multilingual learner program, what we used to refer to as ESL, English as a Second Language. And she's also going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Seal of Biliteracy program that exists for juniors and seniors, and we'll share the results of those scores from last year. So, Mrs. Fisher.
Thank you. Good evening. Like Dr. Woburn said, I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about 2 language proficiency assessments that we give in the district. The first is our access test for our multilingual learners. This is a test that's administered to all MLs to assess their English proficiency. It's given in the late winter, early spring to all of our students in the ESL program in grades K through 12. It assesses their English ability in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. The students receive a score between a 1 and a 6, which correlates with WIDA's standards, which is our consortium for ESL, 1 being least proficient in English and 6 being most proficient in English. And a student has to score a 4.5 or higher to be able to exit from ESL. Those numbers also correlate, you can see at the bottom there, with WIDA's can-do descriptors, which help teachers to make modifications in their classrooms so that our MLs can have access to content and academic vocabulary in class. This year was a little bit of a newer test. WIDA finally aligned their assessment with the 2020 ELD English Language Development Standards. And they also developed new language charts that will make a closer connection between what's happening in the classroom and what is on the access exam. So the ESL teachers and I will be working closely this year to review these new language charts and then turnkey it to the teachers so that they can use it in their classrooms. Here are the data. This is the data from this year's test. We had 128 students who took the assessment, and it's broken down the average by each school. There are a lot of various factors that go into those scores, the amount of time that a student has been in the country, exposure to English, age, background, etc. We had 16 students this year score a 4.5 or higher and were able to exit ESL, so they will be starting September without ESL. We do monitor students who exit for 2 years in case they do need some additional language support and to support the teachers. And 6 students met the mid-year criteria, which is very strict, so we are very proud of those students, to exit the program in the middle of the year and did not have to take the access exam. Another opportunity for students to demonstrate language proficiency at the high school is the Seal of Biliteracy. This is an award that recognizes graduating seniors who are both bilingual in English and a second language. It is a formal credential that's noted on a student's transcripts, and they also receive a certificate from the Department of Education with their diploma, and they're able to take that certificate to their workplace or to a college, and many colleges in New Jersey are now accepting that as world language credit or in lieu of a placement exam. So we've been working with nearby colleges as well. It's a test that's given to 11th and 12th graders. It is also reading, writing, listening, and speaking in another language. And the certificate is given to them in 12th grade when they graduate. When I first took over as the supervisor, we were only having seniors test, and Mr. Capello had the idea to have the juniors take the test as well, almost like a PSAT, to get kind of an idea of the test. And we were very surprised, pleasantly surprised, that a lot of our juniors, because of our strong world language program, were able to get the Seal of Biliteracy their junior year as opposed to their senior year. And those that weren't able to get the score required to pass were then able to take it again their senior year. So they had another opportunity to get the Seal award. There are multiple tests that you can choose as a district to give to show proficiency in that other language. After much research, we decided on the Avant Stamp 4S test. It's an adaptive computer test, so that students take the entire exam on the computer, including the speaking section with a headset and microphone, and then those tests are sent out and scored by 2 different scorers, and then the scores are sent back to us. It uses all authentic resources, and it is very real world, and it is very difficult. Students have to achieve an intermediate mid in order to earn the seal, which is a very advanced level of the language. This year, we had 50 graduating seniors that earned the award in another language, and we had 8 of those seniors that received the seal in 2 languages. So they proved proficiency in English through their graduation pathway, and then were also able to prove proficiency in 2 additional languages. So for example, we had a student get it in Polish and French. We had Spanish, Portuguese, French, Portuguese, which is really amazing. Those are the languages that were tested this year: Spanish, French, Portuguese, Russian, Polish, Turkish, Yoruba, Bosnian, Hungarian, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. What I love about the Seal of Biliteracy is that it reminds us of not just the multilingual learners in the district who are in our ESL program, but there are many families and students who come to us with a wide variety of backgrounds, cultures, and languages, and this is an excellent way to celebrate that in the district. Are there any questions from the board? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
All right, moving on to Section 8, correspondence to the board. I know I received a few emails this month, mostly regarding either the referendum or something having to do with students in the new school year. Anybody else have anything that they have to share? Okay, moving on to Section 9, committee reports. This month, the only committee that met was the referendum committee, and that meeting was on July 21st with the referendum committee members. The meeting began with an update by Mr. Capello about event scheduling to advertise the referendum. Mr. Capello shared that banners had been ordered and would be displayed at all of the school locations, which they have been since the meeting. Mr. Capello then talked about marketing materials, including a one-page advertisement and printed materials that would be used to inform the public about the referendum. The committee discussed various slogans for the project, as well as items to include in informational materials. The committee then discussed various events that were scheduled in Cinnaminson and events that would be scheduled to support the referendum information campaign. The committee will likely meet one final time before the September 15th referendum vote. That meeting has not yet been scheduled. Back here. All right. Ms. Falconero, can I have a motion to approve Section 9 committee reports, item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Tadley?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. All right, moving on to Section 10, public comment on agenda items. Members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on this meeting's agenda. There will be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only should raise their hand to indicate their wish to speak. When called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with the Cinnaminson Board of Education policy, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. And the comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. And with that, does anyone have any agenda items to comment on? Okay, not seeing any. We're going to move on to Section 11, personnel, certified and non-certified. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Kudos to the staff in the superintendent's office. August and July, very busy months as we're getting staffed up for another school year, and they certainly have been busy, as you'll see in just a second. Under Section 11, Item A, appointments and reappointments, seeking the board to approve the certificated staff under item number 1 A through D as listed in the agenda. And then under non-certificated staff, items A through R also as listed in the agenda. Under letter B, resignations and retirements, seeking the board to approve the 11 items that are listed in the agenda. Under leaves of absence, there is one item for the board's consideration listed by employee number in the agenda. Under teaching overload, seeking the board to approve item number 1, 2026-27 teacher overloads. Under letter E, transfers, seeking the board to approve the transfer list that is linked from the agenda. Under letter F, seeking the board to approve advancements on the salary guide, and these advancements are listed under item F in the agenda. Under letter G, mentor teachers, seeking the board to approve item number 1, and those list of names are listed in the agenda. Under letter H, student teachers, there is one student teacher for consideration of the board that is listed under item H number 1. Under substitute teachers, letter I, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 9 as listed in the agenda. Under letter J, seeking the board's approval for items 1 through 9, and all of those items are listed in the agenda. Letter K, tutors, seeking the board to approve tutor lists number 1 and 2. And finally, under letter L, seeking the board to approve the increment withholding that is listed by employee number in the agenda. And that is personnel, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. McGuff, can I have a motion to approve Section 11, personnel, certified, non-certified, items A through L?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Tadley?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 12, curriculum and instruction. Dr. Goldburn.
Thank you very much. Under 12, letter A, professional development, requesting approval of items 1, 2, and 3. Under letter B, field trips. Number 1, nothing under letter C this month. Under letter D, curriculum documents, numbers 1 and 2. And under letter E, the monthly HIP report. And those are the items this month, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Mrs. Tadley, can I have a motion to approve Section 12, curriculum and instruction, items A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. McGuff?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 13, special education. Mrs. Llewellyn?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under letter A, contracts, there are none. Under letter B, student placements, seeking the board to approve the sending tuition agreements between the Board of Ed and the various LEAs. Under letter C, consultant agreement, seeking the board to approve the following consultant agreements as requested by the district. Number 1, Thomas O'Reilly, MD. Number 2, Kenyon Learning and Consulting, LLC. Number 3, Out of Sight Teaching, LLC. And number 4, Empower AAC. Under letter D, criteria for independent evaluations, seeking the board to approve Cinnaminson School District's criteria for independent evaluations for the 26-27 school year as attached. And that is it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Llewellyn. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, items A through D, special education?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. McGuff?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 14, policy. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. There are a couple policies on the board agenda for consideration this evening. First off, we ask for the board to suspend bylaw 0131, requiring 2 readings for the passing of a policy. We have 2 policies related to student use of internet-enabled devices, policy 5516 and the corresponding regulation 5516. And also, we're looking to abolish 2363. So asking for the board's approval for those items under number 1 under policy in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mrs. Trempe, can I have a motion to approve Section 14, policy item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Tadley?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 15, business and finance. Mrs. Wilkie.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section A, grants, that we seek the board's approval for items 1A through 1D. Under Section B, finance, seeking the board's approval for items 1, 2, and item number 3. Under Section C, operations, seeking the board's approval for item 1A through 1E. And under Section D, contracts, seeking the board's approval for item 1 through 5. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilkie.
Mrs. Fitzwater,
Oh,
after you
yes.
opposed, I
You
skipped
need
over
to.
something, yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, after we approve this.
Okay. Okay. Mrs. Icahn, could I have a motion to approve business and finance items A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trempe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Tadley?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Mr. Capello?
Mrs. Fitzwater, thank you. We have to rewind the board meeting just a second. We do have some new staff members who are in attendance this evening. As I looked out, I did not initially see them. So, Mrs. Jones, do you mind introducing us to some of our new pirates?
I have two Cinnaminson High School graduates that will be joining the Milwaukee team. First up is Abby Page. She is a William Mercy University graduate, and she will be joining our first grade team as a special ed long-term substitute.
Welcome, Abby.
Welcome.
The other CHS graduate that we have joining New Albany is Emily McDevitt. She is a Newman University graduate, and she'll be joining our second grade team as a special education teacher.
Welcome back. Principals, did I miss anybody else? Thank you.
Okay. Welcome back, Pirates. All right, we're moving on to Section 17, public comments. All members of the public wishing to speak should raise their hand to indicate their wish to speak. When called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education policy, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, the board will not publicly discuss or comment on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, or the attorney-client privilege. The board may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, all comments will be given appropriate consideration. Matters requiring follow-up will be referred to the superintendent for resolution. Please be aware that all board members, all board employees retain the right of privacy and shall retain all rights against defamation and slander according to the laws of New Jersey. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. Also, I want to add this month that we will, as a reminder, be having a Q&A on the referendum after the end of this meeting. And so if you do have comments on the referendum that you need answers to, you should probably hold those questions until that Q&A session. And with that, anyone from the public?
No, we're not going to be recording the Q&A. However, every question that's asked, as I indicated, every question that I asked will be documented in the question and answer session on the referendum page with the answers that correspond to it. So some of the questions that you may have also may be some of your neighbors' questions, but in that type of form, we'll be able to have an open discussion back and forth. So thank you for that question from the audience.
Brittany Ralvis, Cinnaminson. I mean, technically, we did speak of the referendum, I think, in committee reports when we talked about the money we spent to advertise for the referendum. So right now would be an appropriate time in my book. So I just have a couple questions that I want to put on the record because like he's mentioning, it's going to be a Q&A, will be one-on-one, and I think we have the opportunity to record it so our residents that aren't here at home may have the same questions or same concerns to be able to see. So some of my things were, what has the school done about investigations into student enrollment and the use of Cinnaminson addresses to circumvent tuition? So in line with that, I brought my kids here, we're going on year 5 or year 6. I mean, I showed an address once and haven't done it since, so I'm curious what the process is. If there is a process, and if yes, what is the result of that if we're verifying addresses? If we find children that are not living within our district, What's the process of that? I wasn't here in 2014, but from what I'm understanding was there was a bond referendum done in 2014. I'm curious how much more is still owed on that referendum or on that bond. I am curious because at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that we want the same. We want the district to be as efficient as possible and our students to have increasing and successful outcomes. Okay, I think we could all agree with that. So my question is, since the last bond referendum was voted on and construction was completed, have our standardized testing improved at all? I also would like to know what happens if the bond passes, but we don't get as much as the estimated or anticipated amounts from the state? Whose shoulder does that fall on? And in line with that, I guess my first question should be, are the amounts provided by the state actual factual numbers, or are they just in that estimates and not guarantees? In the beginning of the meeting, we talk about enrollment all the time. Enrollment is high. I've sat at so many of these meetings where people say Cinnaminson is the place to be. But on whose shoulders are we having everyone come to Cinnaminson and people that live here can't afford to stay? We talked about, I think you said pre-K, 7 sites for pre-K, okay? Which, in my opinion, why did we bring all that when we have children in trailers still? I mean, I've spoken on this topic time and time again, safety concerns. They're in trailers. So I'm all for making the building bigger. I have not been shy about that, and anyone can attest to that. Adding space for our residents, our children that live here. But all the extra frills, I don't see where that is helping us increase our testing scores and our outcomes at the end of the day. I also know what is the current, I want to know what the current student enrollment for K through 3 compared to 4 through 6. So are we having like a bigger fluctuation of younger kids coming in? And I know I'm almost out of time, they're going to cut me quick, but I just, and I'll stay after and answer questions or ask questions off the record that I'm curious about the answers to. But I just want to put it out there, like, nobody here is saying we don't want to support these kids or their education, but we have to be practical here.
Thank you, Mrs. Relvis, that's time.
It's ridiculous. So I encourage all of my fellow residents to please come up here and speak your mind, because this is your life.
Thank you, Mrs. Relvis, that's your time.
Thank you very much. It was good seeing you all. I hope you all had a nice summer.
This is the first time I've ever attended one of these meetings. It's nice to see you all. I got a notification this morning on,
Ma'am, do you mind sharing your name and address for the record?
she didn't do it. Jacqueline Matthew.
Thank you.
Okay, I live in Cinnaminson. I'm curious, I saw something on Facebook this morning, there's some type of discussion that you're having tonight about passing more taxes. Now, I can piggyback off what she said, and it's not that we don't want the students to be successful, but at whose expense? I barely make it now. I can't afford anything else. Another $560 a year is just not feasible for me. I will have to leave. And I don't even have any children in the district. I have 0 children. I am never going to have children. So why should I have to pay $560 more? What will come with that extra money that's going to be coming out of my pocket? Anybody? No answers? That's all I really had to, what I had to say. I'm sure other people agree with me. Aren't we taxed enough?
Absolutely.
Enough is enough.
Thank you.
Roger Hare, Yellowstone Road in Cinnaminson. The question or the comments I have surround the pre-K program that was just instituted. And what effects are the pre-K having on this referendum? You know, is the idea that once the building, the construction's done, one, we get the kids out of trailers, but more importantly, we provide a space for pre-K to get out of these 7 sites? I know that, you know, the question was just had is where did the money come for pre-K? I do know that there was grant money from the state given for the institution of the pre-K program, but last time I checked, the New Jersey Constitution states that we need to provide a thorough and efficient education to the kids. And I don't know about everyone else in this room. I don't know how that rolls into pre-K. And what I'm afraid of, the grant money goes away, and now we have built additional class space, we built additional infrastructure, and that we're going to be on the bill when that funding dries up. Are we going to be on that on the hook for paying for pre-K? I know no one paid for my pre-K. For my daughter. My daughter's going into 6th grade, it's going to be coming here to the middle school. We were paying $1,100 a month for pre-K. I'm not here to complain about that, but I know that I'm not here to pay for everyone else's pre-K. You know, so my concern is the extra money that we're being asked to spend on this bond referendum. I'd like to know how that relates to the pre-K and what happens if the funding dries up with the pre-K. Are we going to stop the pre-K, or are we going to charge those families that win the lottery to get into the pre-K? Are we going to charge them at that point, or are we going to be on the hook because now we have built extra class space? So I'd like to have that addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Hare.
Mike Grabowski, Fork Landing Road, Cinnaminson. I've been a resident of Cinnaminson since 1989, and I'm looking at these numbers right now. I've never seen an increase of this to this magnitude. Just to put this in perspective, I understand that we already owe $33 million. Somebody asked the first question. We already owe $33 million on existing bonds through the year 2040. This will add another $58 million if question 1 and 2 is passed. That's $92 million that we're going to be in debt through the year 2050. Now, some of the information that's online is very distorted. I don't know who actually did the marketing on this thing, but I don't think you're being truthful with the taxpayers. When we're looking at what the state is going to kick in, that says up to 40% on qualified items. Well, let's look at question 1, right? We're getting $40.88 million locally is what our tax is going to be. They're going to give us that's $399 a year, $399 a year on the average taxpayer. And question 2 is going to add $160. That means your taxes for your house on the average taxpayer is going to go up $560 just for these 2 referendums. Then we look as far as what the state's going to kick in. On question 1, it's only 29%. We're not getting 40%. I'd like to know line item by line item what we're budgeting here, which items are the state going to give us 40% on. If it's the classrooms, hey, maybe it makes sense. The state's going to kick in 40%. We're going to pay 60%. We get the classroom, and we avoid all this other stuff with AstroTurf and things that are on the Christmas list. Question 2 is even worse. We look at that. They're only going to give us $1.1 million. We're paying $17.23 million. That's 6%. We're not getting 40% of the money. We're getting 6%. At a time when they're basically cutting back seniors' money, we're almost getting our own money back, that we're actually paying. We're going to pay it twice again. So they took the money away from the seniors. Now we're going to pay it back again. I think a lot of this information is distorted. I have a lot of questions, which I'll ask after my time is up, and I'll ask later on. I have a couple basic questions. I understand we're looking at 20 classrooms, 8 for Rush, 6 for New Albany, and 6 for Memorial. So out of 20 classrooms, do these dollars also include the cost of the teachers for those classrooms, the cost of maintenance, the cost of utilities, electrical, water, sewer, heater, all that kind of stuff? I also heard that they're looking for medical costs and benefits to go up for the teachers 30% next year. Do we have that budgeted somewhere? All I see is just a continuing escalation here as far as what the cost of these taxes are going to be. There's no end in sight on this. I did a quick analysis. If we just pass these two and we limit the cap to 2% for the next 15 years, our taxes will be up 50% in 15 years. That's a lot of taxes, and we all know it's not going to be capped at 2%. There's going to be other referendums, and that's not counting the county. So when we're talking, I'm sorry, the municipality. So these percentages that we're talking about and this increase of $560 average per taxpayer, that doesn't include your municipality tax. That's going to go up 2% as well. So this is just a continuing thing. I think you guys need to really take a fine line look at each line item, see where we're going to get our most money from the state for these items, put these things in priority, what's the most important. Stephen, you mentioned that we basically have the classrooms situation resolved for the preschool, so I'm not sure why we're looking at additional classrooms. I also don't know, did we look at other venues for classrooms? Did we look at moving some of the administrative offices out of the schools and into other facilities to free up the classroom? There's a lot of options here. There's also concern where we start investing in some of these schools, what's going to happen in the middle school. We're not adding classrooms to the middle school or the high school. These people are going to move up, or we're going to have a shortage and have a referendum in 5 years for the middle school and the high school. You know, it just doesn't seem like there's a very good plan as far as planning for where these students need to be. You know, that we've changed grades all around years ago from... All right, thank you. I'll ask the additional questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
No answers.
Marie Burback. I just have one question, only because of the fact that everybody else already made the statements that I already had. Are you guys going to put this out in a mailer to all of the residents of Cinnaminson? Right now, it's just posted on your site. Your little ice cream little thing that you're doing at Pomona School, or the cooking thing, or whatever you're doing, is only on Facebook. Like, it's not getting out to all of the residents. It's not getting out to the seniors. It's not getting out to anybody that does not have social media or kids in the schools. So my suggestion to this board is to put a letter out to every single household of what you're proposing and let them come out and vote. It's an unfair vote for all of the residents if they don't know about it. That's it.
Thank you.
Geraldine Dietrich, 19 Emerson Drive. I've been speaking to a lot of seniors, because as you could see, I am a senior myself. They don't know anything about this at all. I've been spreading the word. They just said, well, we've got this mail-in ballot, and it's about the special election. They don't even know. You're not spreading the word, and I think you're doing that on purpose. Also, you are pushing seniors. We've worked very hard. I've been in Cinnaminson since 1971. I have no children in the school system. Why should I have to be paying? And you're saying the medium household would be $560. Well, there are houses that are above that have larger 2 and 3 acres. They're not going to be hit with $560. They're going to be hit with $700, $800, maybe $900 a year increase. So you are pushing seniors out of the community, and of course, the families that are going to be moving in will be families with children. So this is really very, very unfair. And as I could see, I don't know, our residents here had excellent questions. Do you have answers for them? I guess not. Thank you.
The one question was whether I was a crossing guard at the schools here, and I was an aide at New Albany. So I know there are many cars coming in here that do not belong in Cinnaminson. Nothing ever gets done with it. Why? You're afraid of them? Teachers should have. Also, you're saying, you know, you need rooms and everything else. When you and I went to school, we were in a room of at least 30, where a teacher went to college and a teacher herself took care of that 30 kids. Today you have 20 in a class and 2 and 3 aides in a class. There's no reason to have all these aides. I was an aide at New Albany, so I know what I'm talking about. You take at least 5 kids out of every classroom and add it to another classroom, and you will have your room for your other grades. You don't need to add one for classrooms. No other schools need a gym either. All the schools have decent gyms as it is. Also, I'd like to know, what is the standing for our Cinnaminson schools? Where do we stand? At what rate? We used to be between number 1 and I'll say 5. But when I worked here and everything else, it was between 1 and 3. The last I heard, we were all the way down to number 16. So that shows that we are flunking. And there's no reason for it, okay? Okay. Also, I just want to bring up something else that's not really on here. The teachers, the trees and the weeds and everything that are out at New Albany, I have been complaining for a couple years already to the superintendent, to people on the board, that they should be all trimmed. You do not see New Albany School whatsoever from New Albany. That's a disgrace. A disgrace. And there's no reason why your maintenance people can't get out there and trim or dig up all this crap that's all out there. It's a disgrace for this neighborhood. Okay. Okay. So please, I hope everybody in here votes a no on this referendum. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, moving on to Section 18, comments from the board. Mr. Kenny?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you for everyone who came out tonight. Thank you to Mark Tyndall and the maintenance crew for the usual hard work over the summer months to get us ready for another school year. Also, thank you to all of our teachers who have been busy getting their classrooms and lessons ready for this upcoming school year. Thank you to Mrs. Fisher for the world language presentation. It's more evidence of our students doing great things, and best wishes to all of our 3,100 students and their families as they embark on a new school year next week. Just a reminder, we will stay after the board meeting tonight to answer questions concerning the referendum, and the next Board of Education meeting is Tuesday, September 29th at 7 p.m. right here in the cafeteria. More information can be found on the district website. Thank you, and good night.
Okay, and with that, Mr. Meeker, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.